lovies, welcome to my channel. My name is Margaret, aka Hofa Maki. Thank you so much for joining me in this video today. Today we're going to be going over how to make Ghana Jollof. So today we are in the kitchen. If this is your first time visiting me, thank you for coming. And if you're a returning visitor or a returning subscriber, welcome back. So just as a quick disclaimer, I am not a chef or a caterer or any kind of food guru. I'm just an average little girl making food at home for her household. So this is how I make jollof. Definitely open to constructive criticism or suggestions. So I'm gonna share what I do to make my jollof rice. Also, just as a quick pointer, there were a couple spices and ingredients that I would have wanted to add, but I just didn't have it on hand. We did go to the market ahead of making this video, but I forgot some things. So I'll make note of those things throughout the video of other things that you can add to your jollof to make it even tastier and even better. If you're interested in how I made this lovely Ghana jollof, keep watching. So the first things you're going to need are the ingredients. I will set out all the ingredients on the screen so that you can have it. Go ahead and pause this video or take a screenshot so you have that. You can get many of these ingredients at local African shops or markets that sell fresh vegetables and spices. I've set out the ingredients here and I'm gonna keep adding more onion because I really like onion in my stews. I think it makes it very tasty. So going ahead and adding more and more onions to add for my frying on my oil, as well as for blending with my other fresh vegetables. After that, I have some chicken stock that I preserved from some chicken I steamed a bit earlier, and then also some Knorr stock cubes to help have more stock, because I feel like the chicken stock is not enough for the amount of stew I'm about to make. Now it's time to slice your onion. Please excuse my little mum tum, but I'm gonna slice up my onion. I'll slice maybe 2 or 3 to put on the oil. So you're gonna fry / saute your onions before you like as the first step of the stew. So I try to slice enough onions to cover the bottom of my pot very well. I think sauteed onions really make your stew taste very nice, so I don't hold back when it comes to onion. And then after that, I will dice some onion to put in the blender to blend with the rest of my blended vegetables. Yep, so I'm going to set the sliced onions to the side and dice up the rest of the onions for going inside my blender. So you're going to just be blending these ones. So you can just roughly chop. So I just roughly chop these ones, cut them in half again, and then half one more time. So it's easier on the blender. So no need to be cute with this. Just chop them up and set them aside so you can add it to the rest of your vegetables that you will be blending. So we've got our chopped onions for the blender and our sliced onions for the oil. Now pepper. So I cut the stem off of the peppers. I've already washed them. That's why my hands are a bit wet. I have ginger, same, washed it, and I'm cutting some bits of the ginger off, some of the dead bits, and then slicing it into little chunks. The skin on ginger is good for you. Old people say it has medicine in it, so I leave that. Same with the garlic. I'm cutting off the dead end, but leaving some of its skin. Now I'm making a lot of jollof, so I have a big pot, and I'm going to add oil to it. You want enough oil to cover the bottom well. And now I've put the fire on a medium heat so that the oil can heat up before we add our onions to fry. Once the oil is hot, we add the onions to the oil and let it fry. Now I'm getting my seasonings ready. I have crushed chili peppers, curry powder, chicken seasoning, Maggi cube, a spice blend from Ghana my mother-in-law got me, red hot pepper, and bay leaves. I like to season my oil because I think it helps infuse the flavor throughout. And also I'm trying to learn to move away from Maggi cubes, so if you have any suggestions below of other seasonings that would be good, that add the similar taste, that'd be much appreciated. Other spices I normally would have added, but I didn't have on hand, were smoked paprika, granulated onions, dried crayfish, and parsley. I like each of those seasonings, but I just didn't have it on hand. Yeah, so it's good to keep keep stirring the onion so it doesn't burn, but let it continue to fry on a medium heat. I've added all my spices, so the spices are also infusing in the oil. The bay leaf is in there, so it helps to set the flavor. Once the tomatoes are fried a bit, I like to add tomato paste. Tomato paste adds to the color, makes it very nice, nice orange color. So I add about 3 tubes. This is a big pot. So I'm just gonna squeeze the tomato paste in on the oil. Now you wanna let the tomato paste really cook and fry through really well so you don't taste paste at the end. And so the tomato taste is not overwhelming. So you let this really cook well until all the oil comes to the top. That's when you know something has cooked. When it's really cooked through, the oil will sit on top. So I'm just gonna let this cook and stir it every now and then so the bottom does not burn. I decided to add a bit of hot water to the tomato paste I was frying. I don't know, it looks a little dry, so I wanted to add a little water to move it along and help it cook a bit. Normally I would have added stock if I had a bit more stock, but like I said, my stock was a bit limited, so we work with what we got. As you can see now, the tomato paste is basically cooked through. So I'm adding the stock now and letting it cook a bit more with the stock. You could also use chicken broth in place of stock, but I mean, chicken stock, chicken broth, they're quite similar. Now I'm coming to blend my vegetables. I'm going to blend the tomatoes, onion, ginger, garlic, Scotch bonnet pepper together with spices and one of the Knorr stock pots, only because I don't have that much stock. I'm using 2 cans of chopped tomatoes. You can use plum tomatoes as well. For soups and stuff, I like fresh tomatoes, but for jollof and stews, I don't mind the canned ones. It's more convenient. So now I'm adding all the vegetables we chopped earlier, onion, ginger, garlic, and the Scotch bonnet peppers. Now I'm also spicing it with the same spices we put on the same seasonings we put on the oil. So Maggi cube, chili flakes, pepper, curry, spice blend from Ghana. Normally I also would have added smoked paprika, granulated onions, dried crayfish, and parsley. If you're enjoying this video so far, please go ahead and press the notification bell so you don't miss future videos, and subscribe. Share with a friend if you think they would like this recipe. It's super easy, super simple, and tasty, so why not? Our tomato paste has now cooked through together with the stock, and now it's time to add our blended vegetables. A lot of vegetables still in the blender, so rinse that through with some water and then pour that in as well. Now it's time to just leave the stew to cook. This is another ingredient I normally like to add, but I didn't realize I had it until too late. But it's called aniseed, or as Ghanaians call it, nkete. You can add this with the blended vegetables, with the onion, ginger, garlic, and Scotch bonnet pepper, and it's very nice. Time to just leave the stew to cook. When it's done, you'll know because the oil will be sitting on the top. For the purposes of this video, we're just gonna fast forward to the stew being done. stew is ready for the rice now. The stew is cooked. So the next step is to just add our rice to the stew. People have different methods when it comes to making jollof. I like to wash my rice, just to wash some of the starch off of it. Some don't like to wash the rice before, but I washed my rice before adding it to the stew. So I mix it in to just check the proportion of rice to stew, and if need be, I add a bit more rice. I added a bit more rice in this case, and then I mix it in and cover it. Here's another place where jollof can get dicey. So I personally don't like to add too much water to my jollof once I've added the rice. That's why, if you remember when I was making the stew, I added stock, added a bit of water. I like to make my stew slightly watery, so I don't need to add any water once I've added the rice. I like my rice to cook entirely in the stew and then to steam out. So I'm going to add a tiny bit of water, but not that much, and then that's it. Normally I actually would have added stock, but again, like I said, I'm low on stock today. And that's all the rice, that's all the water I'm going to add. So now I'm covering it with some kitchen towel to make it cute for this video, but normally, people just use plastic bag. To fluff the rice with a fork. Do not use a spoon or a wooden spoon. It will make your rice very mashy. Yep, so you just keep your rice covered and let it steam out. Depending on how much water or how you made your stew, it might take a while, might be shorter, might be longer, but you just continue until it comes out how you want it, like this. So now my jollof is basically done. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. If you like videos like this, please comment below. Give me more foods you'd like me to make, and I'll go ahead and make them for you. If you like this, like, subscribe, share with a friend, and let's continue to have fun. Bye.